All right, good afternoon. I know a lot of folks will be kind of joining in here a little late, and because you're probably wondering what in the world is Be Good doing on at 1:10 in the afternoon. Hey, I had to find a slot today to talk to you all. I found one, so we're in good shape. So we can chat at least briefly today, right? It feels weird, but I don't have a chance to talk to you all. So we're at least making that happen, which is good. Hello to Blue. I hope all is well there on YouTube. The alerts are going out now everywhere on Facebook as well as on X and YouTube, I mentioned before. And we've got these fine folks here to my side watching on TikTok right now as well. Got a few of you on here. So hello. Hope you are doing well. And they're going to be chiming in too with some questions. And some of them I know. And so I'm trying to be careful to see what questions get asked there. All right, guys, I hope you're all doing well. So let's dive right into the snowboard that we're going to be looking at as we head throughout this Thursday. It hasn't really changed a whole lot. Not really a big shocker on this, mainly because the pattern is basically the same, especially when it comes to the extended. We got a few snow showers still going to be tracking. This will be late Saturday night into Sunday. Then as we get into later next week, the pattern likely does support a rain to snow mix type of setup. It looks sloppy, to be honest. Doesn't look pleasant, and it doesn't look like a winter storm setup right now that would just get us stuck for days on end. But it's something to watch. Don't get me wrong. It's a system that has still some phasing potential, as you'll see. And then the one to the 18th to the 21st could be a really interesting one. And if it doesn't make it on the map, then the one on 23rd could. And the reason why I say that is sometimes the models will sense out each one of these waves in the future. And sometimes it double counts a storm system. So it could actually only be one storm system that ends up at the end of the month instead of two there. But we'll keep it as split for now until we get a better idea. Fair enough? Hello, Robin. Hello, Bryce. Cameron. There he is. Yeah, there he is. Like I'm in trouble. I'm in trouble? I'm not in trouble, am I? I hope not. Okay, let's show you the sky condition outside. I know it looks really gloomy out there, doesn't it? But it's actually more of a hazy type of setup because we do have some high clouds in the area there are some holes in those clouds. I've seen some sun rays today. And at the same time, this is a warm front moving in. So it is trying to lower the cloud deck in a few areas where we do have a small rain chance. We'll hold intact for a spotty sprinkle or shower. But most of you don't have to worry about that. But hey, it is warm. 61 degrees right now in Louisville. We were 37 this morning. And we're still climbing, and we're not done. In fact, we may keep climbing all the way through the overnight hours, the way it's looking now. 63, hello, Fort Knox. Munfordville, 61. Anyone down in Campbellsville? You're 63 down there in Tanner County right now. A very warm day. All right, so you can see the cloud layers here from the visible satellite. It's kind of staggered as it's moving on by. But we do have at least some more of the radar showing some showers back into Illinois and the other side of the Wabash. I'm not worried about that. That's going to be heading north and east, not due east. So really, this is our weather for the remainder of the afternoon, and that's not too shabby. We'll stay in the 60s. The wind's going to continue to slowly ease up as we continue on to this afternoon, and it will be a windy night. So hang on to your neck hair for later on tonight. It's going to be breezy. Jesse, how is it down in Texas? In that area, how are you? What's your weather like? I know you're El Paso, so he'll chime in a second for those watching on TikTok, because you guys, this system's been rolling out of Texas the past couple of days, so you probably gotten some wild weather you normally don't get. We got one tornado warning with our system that's approaching. I mean, this has got a classic cyclone look here, a mid-latitude cyclone where it looks like the comma that is on your keyboard. All right, the comma shape. And that shape extends all the way around. There's the front end of the comma, and there's the tail right there, and then extends all the way up into eastern Nebraska. So when you see that, that is typically a fairly mature, as we call that, not an immature. We don't want an immature cyclone, but a mature cyclone. And that's when it has all of its frontal features. And in this case, it's got a very well-defined warm sector that roughly is stretched out something like this, along the warm front and down across St. Louis and along where the rain band is pushing through from areas of Missouri. I haven't had any reports of touchdowns yet. I'll keep an eye on the trends on that, but I think this is just, the jet is really going to be strong with the system. That I think there's going to be so much potential here for these storms to rotate in that area today that they may be throwing out tornado warnings at times and cancel them nearly right after they issue them. They don't like to let these tornado warnings linger very long in this setup because it really can create a lot of anxiety, right? So as soon as the signature is gone off the radar, they clear the warning out of the system. We've seen that here already many times. Even this year, we've seen it. It's normal for that process from the Weather Service. They try their best to try to keep the noise out if things are falling apart. Anyway, this is the system we're watching. This is the one that's got the severe risk with it this evening. But here's the catch on this one. Majority of the energy with this is aiming more northeast than it is due east. So this is going to take some time to get to the Mississippi River. It's going to take even more time to get to the other side of the Mississippi and then to get to I-65. That entire process may end up taking a good 12 to 16 hours for that to happen. So because of that, we've got plenty of time that is going to be relatively quiet. Again, other than a few light showers that may try to sneak in at times this evening, nothing on the severe side is on the table. As the system moves on by, we have a second one that we'll be tracking too right on its hill. So let me get rid of the clouds so you can see this just with the radar only. I love the bright banding there. Look at that into Kansas, showing the snowflakes that are melting. There must be some giant flakes there when you go from that rain to snow. I love that look on the radar. That's I'm sure they're loving that there, or maybe they're not. I don't know. But that will stay north of us for now anyway. All right, so the game plan is for this line to be a main focal point to get us all the way through the overnight into early on your Friday. This is an odd-looking severe map from the Storm Prediction Center, isn't it? Marginal risk with a slight risk that almost looks like a severe thunderstorm warning. And it's a tough one. It's only a narrow window that all the ingredients are lined up to what we call surface-based storms. And if they're not surface-based, meaning those bases we talk about all the time on those storms, you can get a lot of rotation, but if you can't get it below the tree line, it's not a factor, at least not as much. And there's only certain sections of this storm system and the one that will be arriving Friday that there will be certain areas and certain moments that they can have bases that are low enough where a tornado threat is possible. majority of the time, both of them will have what we call elevated convection. In other words, the strongest the wind for the most part stays above the tree lines. That's why we're not looking at a widespread slight or a widespread enhanced or a moderate risk, because the wind fields are impressive. They're very impressive, guys. But we don't have the fuel. I know it's warm out, but it's warm, but we also don't have moisture in the right areas too. We have moisture increasing, but like a layered cake, it's got to be in the right spots to really matter to create an unstable atmosphere, and we don't quite have that. And obviously the lack of sun, at least full-on sun, helps us out, right? So here's the radar on top of the outlook for tonight. And they did move it a little closer to us with the most recent update up through about Du Bois County and Jasper, Indiana. Could they scoot this a little bit more? Possibly. The time issue is going to get them because they have to reset to the next calendar day at 7 a.m. So once they realize that if this line of storms is going to then arrive in our counties around 7 a.m. or after, then they have to move the marginal risk and draw it for day 2 or tomorrow is where they'll start it. So we may not see this one go too much further east. It'll be the one tomorrow that may have a little bit more of our area in it than what it already does, just because of the early morning aspect. So that's technicality, but at least want to explain how this works. I am not a fan of this when it crosses date lines like this and you have SPC outlooks. It gets very confusing. So I don't want to get too in the weeds on it. Just know that we know what's happening on this, and we'll let you know if there's anything you need to worry about on it. Fair enough? I think it's fair. All right, let's go with the futurecast. Let's get right to it. Pay attention to the clock. Pay attention to the county you're located in. As we advance this, warm front again, move by. We get into this evening looking fairly quiet. We get into the overnight hours. All right, that line that's back there into the show me state starts to show up. Now, it takes time. It's sweet time getting here, but roughly around 4 to 5 a.m., it should be moving into our western counties. And at that point, if there's anything still there for strong wind potential, that's when we could get a few severe thunderstorm warnings could get issued. And it's important to note that these may be severe thunderstorm warnings without any lightning. I'm not really sure there's going to be any lightning, to be honest, right now. So a bit of a tough issue, but one we face in the cool season often when you have these surges of wind embedded in a thunderstorm type of setup. But the timing on this is what worries me on the commute. Just plan ahead. If we see a signal that this is going to impact the Louisville Metro a little more into that core period there of rush hour, we may do a short fuse type of alert day because of traffic issues that may come from the heavier rain. But as far as the severity of storms, I don't see an alert day coming out for that aspect of it. Just be mindful. There will be some strong gusty winds. I'll show you those in a second as this line pushes through, especially just ahead of the line. Some of the strongest of the winds will take place right before it pushes in. When it actually starts raining, we may actually see the wind ease back just a bit. But then after we get past this round, it jets off to the east. The rest of the day looks fairly quiet. The question we've had on Friday is whether or not the sun's going to come out along the Ohio River. It did look like a better chance for that to happen yesterday. It doesn't look as promising today. But if it did, that would really bring us into the 70s and then line us up for some thunderstorms into Friday evening. But what has changed today is that the track of the next system has shifted even more to the east. So even if we were to get a little bit of sun out, unfortunately, the cooler air that's trying to flow in behind it will already start pushing in by Friday afternoon. That is nearly 18 to 20 hours faster than what it showed all week on when that cooler air would push in from the west. So because of that, I'm not as worried now on any type of severe issue into Friday evening. It was very low in risk to begin with, but the shift in the track nearly completes that idea. Let me show you what I'm looking at here. Here is Friday night and early Saturday. The second wave only grazes into Kentucky, and we're on what we call the deformation zone of this, where it's rain. All your thunderstorms are way to the south, perhaps as far south as Atlanta. Knoxville will have to deal with the thunderstorm side of this all the way down into, say, Alabama and Mississippi, not into central Kentucky. So it's interesting, that much of a jog that took place. Don't foresee it jogging back the other way, but that's good news for us. It cuts down the severe risk for the second piece. So really, it's just going to be about Friday morning overall, if we're going to get any warnings out of this. And unfortunately, the downside to it is because this is shifting east and we get the cooler air to flow in faster, we don't get a chance to push in those 70s now. because the cooler air will already start inching in, and the temperature drop, while not rapid, will be on its way down once we get into Friday afternoon, into certainly Friday night, early Saturday. The chilly air will continue. Let me show you this on the temperature forecast. All right, so it's got 58 at 8 o'clock. I think it may be a little too cool. I think we'll stay generally in the lower to mid 60s. Then we get into Friday morning, 60s are showing up. Then we get into Friday afternoon, 51 for Friday afternoon, 40s in Indiana. Yeah, I mean, again, yesterday the data was indicating around 3 o'clock Friday, we may be pushing 70. Huge difference in the high res data coming in on the shift of that second low. Now, this may be too cool. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes models can be too aggressive with it, but it won't be too far off either. So because of that, and it moving out, it's going to be some chilly rain showers. Could it start to get some ice pelts mixed in with some of them too, as we've been early on Saturday. All right, rainfall-wise, well, because of the idea that we're really shunting the second system, we are only going to get most of our rain from the first one, and that's not going to be a lot. So those that get both of them could get to a half inch. If you only get one, you may be more into the quarter-inch category or lower. Not bad. TikTok, how do you feel about that? I haven't been paying attention. I'm sorry. Let's see. I can't scroll up to your comments. But I will check back in. I will check back in to see what you said, especially Jesse. I'll check your comment out. All right, forecast winds. Now, as I mentioned, this is going to start ramping up this evening. The wind chimes outside, it's going to be a little loud. Once we get into the overnight hours, there will be a surge of wind right ahead of the band of rain and thunder that arrives near the morning commute. It's indicating 40 to 50 mile per hour winds. That is possible in the surge before it, but technically that is still under severe limits. So it would likely get a special weather statement and not a warning unless confidence is there on getting closer to 60 miles per hour. Then you likely get a severe thunderstorm warning. I don't think if the confidence is there, the Weather Service will likely just issue special weather statements to keep it simple, because it's going to be odd without much lightning. And I think that would probably cover it. And we'll be on the air with sunrise anyway in the morning, so we'll be walking through some of the gusts as it moves on by. There's a bit of a lull that happens when the rain actually starts falling, and then it will end up easing the wind down just a bit, only to increase back up for the rest of the midday hour. And as we get into Saturday morning, the wind relaxes, but overall it's going to stay windy for the entire weekend, but colder. All right, speaking of colder, here comes the snow showers. There's that vort moving in on the pre-dawn hours of Sunday, and then moves right. Oh, isn't that pretty? Look at those blues right over us. Now, while it looks nice, you got to keep in mind this snow is going to be falling on a warm ground, so it will melt. If it's light enough snow, it'll melt instantly, and if it's heavy enough, it can accumulate briefly on the car top, the rooftop, some of the trees, but just as soon as it's done, bye-bye. It's out of there. It'll start melting away. So this is not an impactful type of snow and travel. The only exception to this I want to mention is going to be any bridge or overpass, any roadway that doesn't have dirt underneath it, and the air can flow underneath the road, can indeed freeze up. So use caution early Sunday and again Sunday night on that. But I don't foresee right now widespread problems. If we end up with more snow showers than expected, even if they're light, that could lead to some snow showers. All right. Any questions? Everyone type 4 if you're good. Type 4 if all of that into the weekend made sense, because there's a lot of shaking going on and there have been changes. So make sure everyone's clear. And obviously, we're going to cover this in our newscast this afternoon and evening, but I want to at least take a moment to make sure I'm clear with you all here with our bloggers, right? So type 4 if you're good. Same with you all watching on TikTok. Let me know if there's any questions you all have as well. Hello, Heidi. Hope all is well. Okay, so got some 4s. Someone asked about alert day. I don't foresee an alert day right now unless there is a short-term one that would come out for just travel for tomorrow morning's commute. And Tawana will be watching that. It's possible that could come out, but I don't foresee it right now. There's nothing that makes me think this is going to be a big issue, but as we all know, in the Louisville area at rush hour, it's all about timing. So if there's a strong and heavy cell producing, 1-inch rainfall plus rates moving toward the Snyder Freeway and the Waterston Expressway, and it's almost 6 a.m., that's going to cause a problem. and it's going to slow the traffic down, and you know how it goes from there. So that's the reason if there is an alert day out tomorrow morning, it would be for that growing concern, or if there's a surge of wind that is getting higher than expected too with some of these showers that could cause one. So just again, watch Kevin tonight at 11, and then also for sure with Tawana on Sunrise, and she'll let you know where we stand. But I do not see this being a major event here. All right, so that's good. And instead of 2 issues to worry about, now we only have just the 1 period Friday morning. That makes it a lot easier. Next week gets complex. Here we go. First wave dives down. This is where we're still trying to see whether or not they want to shake hands or not. And I'm referring to a piece down along the Gulf and the piece that drops in straight from the Great Lakes. It was what we call phasing. It's still there in the Icon model, which is a German model. The Icon model still does not want to give up. It still wants to phase this as a southeast storm system. However, the rest of the modeling, especially the globals, what we call the Euro GFS, they're wanting to shake hands. They try to, but it doesn't really do so until it gets a little bit more east. And at that point, it's basically already past us. Still, having said that, it is a messy look. As you can see, the model is just struggling with the dew, with the temperature profile, and with where to put the systems. But it's a setup that certainly needs to be watched for Wednesday and Thursday for next week. I think it'll be rain to begin with, and then we'll likely go over at least a rain-snow mix or snow showers. But as of right now, this system does not look to be a significant one until I see a higher potential for moisture to get involved. If higher moisture levels or QPF gets involved, that typically means warmer air is involved too. So it can get a little more complex. But as of right now, I think this is going to be just a system to watch, but I don't think it's anything major. However, just after this passes by, the colder air settles in, and then we get into the holiday weekend, heading toward MLK Day, and now the stage is getting set for what I think is going to be a little bit more interesting. Now we're going to see the colder air dive a little bit more west into the Central Plains. So far, they've been diving either straight down to the Great Lakes or into the Mid-Atlantic in New England. This one, toward the end of the month, after the 15th, 16th, is going to dive a little bit more west. And that's important because that'll create just enough of a tilt on the front end. You'll see that warmer flow take place. This is going to be a classic overrunning setup of a potential for a more significant system. And what that all means as far as, is it going to be snow or ice? Where's the strong storm potential going to be? I don't know any of that. All right. I can't get in the weeds on that yet. All I can tell you is that this signal is the most impressive to me that I can see in the future of right now, only because the cold air attacks a little more west, and you have a nice little ridge in here in the southeast. Many times we've gotten some wild weather from that, so I think it bears watching. That would likely put it again near MLK Day, if not before it. So we shall see. Here's the overall pattern that we've had on this all week, really. Talking about the snow showers that come into play. This is really for the next Wednesday, Thursday type of setup. We haven't drawn a map yet for the one I just showed you for late into January there. We're not close enough yet to show it, but we can talk about it on the blog. So that's why you guys get the heads up before it appears at the very end of the 10-day, which is getting close. It's about to. One more day, and it probably will be. All right, any questions I can answer for anybody? Anyone? Anyone good? You guys are all quiet over here on TikTok. Hi, everybody. Hello, Mary. Hope all is well. All right. Any questions here I can answer? Brian looking like the system is driving him crazy. It is driving me crazy. But I always look a little crazy, don't I? Do you see any prolonged cold snaps, David is asking, like we had last winter? I don't. And that's what's interesting about this. This comes in phases. It's not like an Arctic plunge that locks in for weeks and weeks and weeks. It seems to arrive and ease and arrive back and forth. And what is interesting about that is that's how you get bigger winter storms. If you're a fan of snow, and especially some bigger snows, it's that back and forth, the rubber band snapping that can lead to deeper low pressures, especially in a blocking pattern. It's when you have the full-on cold that locks in and settles, that's when for snow lovers, it gets boring because you're just cold and dry. Maybe some Arctic dust flying around. That's about it. It's miserable, right? And you get the ice. from the last snow that had fell, and then you don't have anything for a while, but you got to still deal with the icy roads, which is what January was about last year. And this kind of setup, you can get bigger winter events and snow, but you will likely thaw in a matter of time, melt some of it away, improve the roads, and then you may get another one right after that. This reminds me a lot of 93. February 93 was similar to this. But anyway, I can't get too in the details on how the storm system will look because we're all just speaking in theory. We're just talking amongst friends right now, right? I can't get into more specifics until we get closer, but I can tell you this is a pattern that is certainly conducive for bigger events if they all line up just right in phasing. A little more promising than I mentioned this on the winter forecast tonight. I feel like this year has got a little bit more promise to it on bigger events than we've had here in a while. So you're saying there's a chance for one good snow? Absolutely, there's a chance. Hey, Wayne, hope all is well, my friend. Any tornado threat near Louisville? No, we're not seeing that. It's going to be just mainly a burst of wind that could accompany some of those showers late tonight, early tomorrow. But at that point, there's not a lot of turning along that boundary. So as long as that holds true, then it will be just straight line wind gust. Still can cause some problems, though, power outages. So make sure to set multiple alarms tomorrow morning in case the power were to flicker or go out. All right, I think you guys are good. So there's the entire 10-day. Again, 60s in the short term. The record today, by the way, is 70. Don't think that's going to be reached. The record tomorrow is 67. I was sold on that being reached yesterday, but with that cooler flow of air trying to race in faster, I don't know. It's a clock. It'll be moving in around lunch. So we could get up there to about 65 to 67, maybe even match the record, and then we'll see the drop. I mean, if we're going to be that close, we might as well do it. But I don't control that. And then you see the snow showers there on Sunday. And then next week, we'll just take it one day at a time. As you see, we still get above freezing some of those periods, which only complicates not only the precip type, but also how road conditions will be. All right, guys. I'm going to end it there. I appreciate it. Yeah. Hi, Marissa. Marissa, you guys saw her, right? Go down the hallway. Those are on TikTok. Any questions there? No questions there. Okay, good. All right, guys, I'm going to end it. You are awesome. I appreciate y'all being patient with everything being a little odd today on timing, but at least want to make sure to touch base with you all before we got into the core of the afternoon, our newscast. It's really hard to explain all these finer details in like 2 minutes on TV. You know how it works. All right, thanks for watching, everyone. I will see you coming up on the flip side.